Welcome, everybody, to the book of Daniel. This will supplement your book of Revelations that we just did, that's on the podcast there. But we're going to do it the way it was back in the Septuagint. For those that don't know what the Septuagint is, it was a Greek translation done early church, very early, like the first after Christ crucified and risen. It was done so that the gospel could be spread across the whole world. So here in the original 1611 King James Bible, we have a history of that by the translators, a history of how it was translated into the Greek using all documents, using Hebrew, using Greek, comparing it to all the scriptures there in 1611, but also back here in the Septuagint. So they separated Susanna and some of the others away from Daniel because it was not found in the Hebrew. So there'll be more on these podcasts about the translators and how diligent they were to let us know how they were translating and for what purposes they were translating. So here we have the history of Susanna. For those that don't know, it's in the Old Testament Apocrypha, and it is early Daniel in Babylon before he was taken to the palace with Nebuchadnezzar. He is here with his people, and how his early days he was known for his great wisdom. It's also a very good expose of a lady that had fear of the Lord and great faith. It's an expose of corrupt judges that are in high places, that are not of God, they're against God. It is also a show of how riches don't necessarily corrupt everybody, because Susanna's husband did not let those riches spoil his fear of the Lord. So here we go with the book of Daniel, and starting with this wonderful history of Susanna, the Lady of Faith. So we'll get with it here. The translators have big letters here. It says separate from the beginning of Daniel because it is not in Hebrew. Okay, so there's that. Here we go with the Septuagint book of Daniel. Verse 1. There dwelt a man in Babylon called Joachim, and he took a wife whose name was Susanna, the daughter of Chelcias, a very fair woman, and one that feared the Lord. Her parents also were righteous, and taught their daughter according to the law of Moses. Okay, law of Moses, law itself has to do with the written word. For it says, now Joachim was a great rich man, and had a fair garden joining unto his house, and to him resorted the Jews, because he was more honorable than all the others. So we have a gathering going on at Joachim, the rich man's place. In 5, the same year were appointed 2 of the ancients of the people to be judges, such as the Lord spake of, that wickedness came from Babylon, from ancient judges who seemed to govern the people. Okay, so there's that. All idolatry, sorcery, paganism, it all came from this site of Nimrod. In 6 it goes on, these kept much at Joachim's house, and all that had any suits in law came unto them. So there's your lawsuits. Any arguments, etc., were settled there at Joachim's house. So these two judges were hanging around. 7. Now when the people departed away at noon, Susanna went into her husband's garden to walk. And the two elders saw her going in every day and walking, so that their lust was inflamed toward her. So here in their lackadaisical day, they are busy stalking this lady who is innocent. 9. Now what else did the two elders, the fake perverts here, do? Listen to this. And they perverted their own mind and turned away their eyes, that they might not look unto heaven, nor remember just judgments. So there they are, haughty, arrogant, in a position of power, so they turn their back against God. And albeit they both were wounded with her love, yet there's not one shew another his grief. Okay, so here they are. They're not admitting this to each other as they go ahead and stalk her. They are not declaring it to each other. For they were ashamed to declare their lust that they desired to have to do with her. Now this shame ain't going to last very long here with these perverts. Now this is the mind of a psychopath. That's another thing that's being exposed in the history of Susanna. Yet they watched diligently from day to day to see her. So there they are. They're lusting, stalking, and perverting judgment, turning their back away from heaven. 13. And the one said to the other, let us now go home, for it is dinner time. So there they are lying to each other. See? Listen to this. So when they were gone out, they parted one from the other, and turning back again, they came to the same place. And after that, they had asked one another the cause. They acknowledged their lust. Then appointed they a time, both together, when they might find her alone. So there is what is known as a conspiracy. They conspired to get this innocent lady. So there's your psychopath. 15. And it fell out as they watched a fit time. She went in as before with two maids only, and she was desirous to wash herself in the garden, for it was hot. And there was nobody there save the two elders that had hid themselves and watched her. So that's another thing though these perverts do. They watched for this lady like they were stalking an animal on a hunting trip. 17. Then she said to her maids, bring me oil and washing balls, and shut the garden doors that I may wash me. And they did as she bade them, and shut the garden doors, and went out themselves at privy doors to fetch the things that she had commanded them. but they saw not the elders because they were hid. So what, they actually, it was like they're in a duck blind, hiding from everybody. 19. Now when the maids were gone forth, the 2 elders rose up and ran unto her, saying, Behold, the garden doors are shut, that no man can see us, and we are in love with thee. Therefore consent unto us, and lie with us. If thou wilt not, we will bear witness against thee, that a young man was with thee, and therefore thou didst send away thy maids from thee. So they don't have any fear to use false witness, which is forbidden in the law of Moses. The Lord hates people that would do something like this. So they're actually threatening her with murder, because if she is guilty of adultery, the law of Moses says you're stoned. 22. Then Susanna sighed and said, I am straitened on every side, for if I do this thing, it is death unto me. She's talking about the second death there, folks. And if I do it not, I cannot escape your hands. 23. It is better for me to fall into your hands and not do it than to sin in the sight of the Lord. 24. With that, Susanna cried with a loud voice, and the 2 elders cried out against her. Then ran the one and opened the garden door. So when the servants of the house heard the cry in the garden, they rushed in at the privy door to see what was done unto her. 27. But when the elders had declared their matter, the servants were greatly ashamed, for there was never such a report made of Susanna. 28. And it came to pass the next day, when the people were assembled to her husband Joachim, the 2 elders came also, full of mischievous imagination against Susanna, to put her to death. So they are not only rapos, they are also murderers here, folks. Notice the term mischievous imagination. In the King James Bible, imagination, 99 out of 100 times, is part of wickedness. So that's a bad word. And mischievous, mischief, is not a light word either. It's a heavy-duty evil word. Okay? So look for that as you study your King James. 29. Okay, so here they are speaking. And said before the people, Send for Susanna, the daughter of Chelcias, Joachim's wife. And so they sent. So she came with her father and mother, her children, and all her kindred. 31. Now Susanna was a very delicate woman, and beauteous to behold. 32. And these wicked men commanded to uncover her face, for she was covered, that they might be filled with her beauty. Now, here they are, wanting to rape her. Now they're wanting to murder her, and at the same time, be filled with her beauty. Now, this is a type of psychopath. Their conscience is seared with a hot iron, and they do not care one iota for God's law. They do not have any love for other human beings. The psychopath. 33. Therefore her friends and all that saw her wept. 34. Then the two elders stood up in the midst of the people and laid their hands upon her head. And she, weeping, looked up towards heaven, for her heart trusted in the Lord. 36. And the elders said, as we walked in the garden alone, this woman came in with two maids and shut the garden doors and sent the maids away. Then a young man who there was hid came unto her and lay with her. Then we that stood in a corner of the garden, seeing this wickedness, ran unto them. 39. And when we saw them together, the man we could not hold, for he was stronger than we, and opened the door and leaped out. 40. But having taken this woman, we asked who the young man was, but she would not tell us. These things do we testify. All lies. How many times in the world has someone been accused falsely? Like this, full of lies. Lies, the power of the devil, the lie. 41. Then the assembly believed them, as those that were the elders and judges of the people. So they condemned her to death, ladies and gentlemen. 42, the number of months in the Great Tribulation. Then Susanna cried out with a loud voice and said, O everlasting God, that knoweth the secrets, and knowest all things before they be. There's your prophecy, folks. 43. Thou knowest that they have borne false witness against me, and behold, I must die. Whereas I never did such things as these men have maliciously invented against me. All right, but listen to this one. And the Lord heard her voice. Therefore, when she was led to be put to death, the Lord raised up the Holy Spirit of a young youth whose name was Daniel. 46, who cried with a loud voice, I am clear from the blood of this woman. 47, then all the people turned them towards him and said, What mean these words that thou hast spoken? ? So he, standing in the midst of them, said, Are ye such fools, ye sons of Israel, that without examination or knowledge of the truth ye have condemned a daughter of Israel? ? Return again to the place of judgment, for they have borne false witness against her. Wherefore, all the people turned again in haste. And the elders said unto him, Come, sit down among us, and shew it us, seeing God hath given thee the honor of an elder. So you see, elder doesn't just come with age. It comes with wisdom and understanding. And Daniel is full of that. 51. Then said Daniel unto them, Put these two aside, one far from another, and I will examine them. 52. So when they were put asunder, one from another, he called one of them and said unto him, O thou that art waxen old in wickedness, now thy sins which thou hast committed aforetime are come to light. For thou hast pronounced false judgment, and hast condemned the innocent, and hast let the guilty go free. Albeit the Lord saith, The innocent and righteous shalt thou not slay. Now, people, these criminals, these judge criminals, have been going on doing this to people, as you'll find out here. 54. Now then, this is Daniel examining. Now then, if thou hast seen her, tell me, under what tree sawest thou them companying together? Question mark. And this is the answer from the old criminal, who answered, under a mastiff tree. 55. And Daniel said, Very well, thou hast lied against thine own head, for even now the angel of God hath received the sentence of God to cut thee in two. 56. So he put him aside and commanded to bring the other, and said unto him, O thou seed of Canaan, and not of Judah, beauty hath deceived thee, and lust hath perverted thine heart. Thus have ye dealt with the daughters of Israel, and they for fear companied with you. But the daughter of Judah would not abide your wickedness. So did you hear that? They've been doing this to people. Now this reminds you exactly about that judge from Akron, Ohio back in the old days. He finally got arrested, busted, and sent to prison. Judge Barbudo. It was national news on 2020 television. Good old Judge the pervert Barbudo, a criminal. 58. Now therefore tell me, under what tree didst thou take them companying together? Who answered, Under a holm tree. 59. Then said Daniel unto him, Well, thou hast also lied against thine own head, for the angel of God waiteth with the sword to cut thee in two, that he may destroy you. So you see how he has knowledge of the good angels here and the will of God here. You can see this in 59. 60. With that, all the assembly cried out with a loud voice and praised God who saved them that trust in him. That is a huge statement there, folks, as we're going into the tribulation era. 61. And they arose against the two elders, for Daniel had convicted them of false witness by their own mouth. And according to the law of Moses, they did unto them in such sort as they maliciously intended to do to their neighbor, and they put them to death. Thus the innocent blood was saved the same day. 63, the number of generations from Adam to Christ. Therefore, Chelcias and his wife praised God for their daughter Susanna, with Joachim her husband, and all the kindred, because there was no dishonesty. So there was no dishonesty found in her. 64. From that day forth was Daniel had in great reputation in the sight of the people, period. And this is where we would pick up in chapter 1 of the book of Daniel, and we will insert all these. There's 2 more of them are inserted in there, and this is the way it was in the Septuagint 2,000 years ago. When it was all translated to Greek, this is the way it was, and that's the way we're going to do it. I'll see you in chapter 1, folks.